Tell us a bit who Corporate Rebels are.
Yeah, we're Corporate Rebels. We're a bunch of people who are really excited about making work more fun.
Yeah.
So we believe that the way that many organizations are currently structured is outdated, old-fashioned, and that organizations should radically change their way of working to create more engaging, more inspiring workplaces. So we quit our jobs a couple of years ago out of this frustration with the way that large organizations are run, and we said let's look at what pioneers around the world are doing to create really inspiring workplaces. So we started to travel around the world to learn from academics, organizations, management writers and authors, anything we could learn about how to make work more fun. So we currently still do that, and we visited about more than 100 workplace pioneers, and we share everything we learn on our blog, in our upcoming book, and also in the consulting work that we do. We turn that ideas and those visions into reality with our customers.
What have you found so far? Are there any particular trends you have detected during this exploration?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that these organizations do radically different than the more traditional ones. Like where you have in many traditional workplaces top-down leadership, and you have a clear focus on profit and very hierarchical structures with a lot of secrecy in there. What we see in the companies that we've been visiting is that they have a radically different approach to how to organize work. So they focus, instead of focusing on money, they focus on having a purpose. What is it that the organization wants to contribute to the world, and therefore attracting talent to their organization. And having a clear set of values in place to do that. So the first trend we often talk about is from profit to purpose and values. Okay. The second trend is from a hierarchical pyramid to a network of teams, where you have the hierarchical frustrating structures, where you have the CEO at the top, lots of management layers in between, and then the people who are actually doing the work. So these companies get rid of that and they replace it with a network of team structure, where you have teams, mostly 10 to 15 people, who are fully responsible for their part of the business. And having a lot of autonomy in that. Another trend is from directive to supportive leadership, where you have not anymore the bosses who tell people what to do, but instead you have coaches or people who support their teams as good as possible. Most of the time actually elected leaders who are elected by the teams themselves. Another trend is from planning and predicting to experimenting and adapting. So forgetting about the long-term plans and these annual terrible budgeting cycles, and focusing much more on how can we experiment on short term with new products, new services, new ways of working, and how can we learn based on the outcomes of those experiments, and how can we adapt our course along the way. The fifth trend is from rules and control to freedom and trust, getting rid of lots of rules and procedures and policies that hold people back from doing the work, and focusing much more on giving people the freedom and the trust to do the right thing. With the idea we're all responsible adults, we can do a lot of stuff and we can manage a lot of stuff at home, but when we come to the workplace, we're all of a sudden expected not to even spend 100 or 500 euros of company money, which doesn't make any sense. So these companies say, let's get rid of that outdated idea, let's focus on giving people the freedom and trust to make their own decisions. So that's another one. Then the sixth trend is from centralized to distributed authority. So pushing decision making down the organizational charts to the ones and the front lines. Seventh one is from secrecy to radical transparency, opening up all kinds of company information, performance levels, salary information, financial information, so people understand how the business is performing. And the last trend is from job descriptions to talents and mastery, focusing on what do people actually love to do, and how can we use those skills and those talents, and how can we put that into practice instead of looking at the fixed job descriptions that we currently have in a lot of organizations.
Okay, great. And finally, what would be your recommendations for a company that wants to explore its possibilities of becoming a more self-managed organization?
Well, I think, first of all, of course, hire the corporate rebels. Then you'll all be successful.
Of course.
The first thing is to find a group of people in your organization who believe there's a better way of working. Find the so-called rebels in your organization. Train them, give them the right knowledge, the right awareness about what's going on around the world when it comes to different ways of working. and then make sure that they have the freedom to experiment with new ways of working. So give them that opportunity, let them try a lot of things. If it doesn't work, great, learn from it and move on to something else. If it works perfect, then build onto it and get more people involved in it. So find the rebels, train them, and then let them and give them the freedom to actually experiment.
So thank you very much. Very inspiring ideas.
All right, thank you.